And so I'm aware that there are a group of people who look to this moment almost in a defensive mode, that if I don't participate in AI, I'm going to lose the competitive advantage that I've had in my business up until now, or that if I'm an early adopter of AI, that in fact I can gain a competitive advantage. And so we have a large body of people looking at our business, looking at it not so much in the standpoint of seeking to earn royalties as an agent of LEV AI, but seeking to be more effective in their business. So we have those who would use LEV AI in their business. And then we do have those who, like me, have come from a micro enterprise world where we have worked to build teams, create organizations, earn royalties on the delivery of products and services. Then there are those who look to LEV AI not just as something to use in our business, but something as our business. Here is my thought. My thought is that of the elements that are required for success, and these are known elements, these are not questions. We know the elements that are required for success in a micro enterprise environment. And those elements are first, a product or service that matters to people. Second, a company that can execute. Third, timing that is clear, that is obvious, that is beyond refute. Fourth, a compensation plan which both provokes correct behaviors and rewards those behaviors. And then training and support. Those are the five elements that have long been recognized and understood to be requisite. And then I've added to that the development of a leadership structure. Now, it has become evident to me at this stage of the game that the star of this show is the product. Without question, the star of the show is the product. In earlier parts in my career, it's been true that it's been business, 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 supported by the product, where the product was a necessary part of the equation, but it wasn't the driving force. It was the compensation plan was the driving force, or the opportunity to capture moment and timing was the driving force, with the product being a necessary component to validate that message. This is the first time in my career where I can say without question, now just these number of weeks into it, the product, the service is the star of the show. That's what makes everything else possible. And so when I contemplate what's the best way that I can help you, whether you're one who's just looking at our business today or whether you're one who has embraced it already, either as one who will use it in your business or one who's using it as a business, I want to place a great big emphasis on the product itself and make sure that every single person who becomes aware of our company realizes that that is in fact the star of the show. So what I'm going to do, again, a little bit different. And many of you, you've heard me, I suppose, deliver the business message multiple times, and you've seen me go through the basic slide presentation. And so you know that I'm an advocate of that. You've heard me many times. And so I want to share some information with you that you have not heard me share before. And if, in fact, you're here for the very first time, I strongly encourage you, do not miss this evening's presentation. Tammy Wachter will do a fantastic job of a basic business presentation. I'm going to do something a little bit different than that right now. And I'm going to do it. Again, my stated objective for this session is to help everyone understand that the product is the star of the show. And if the product is the star of the show, then I think it's really, really important that we give the star the stage a little bit here. And so that is what I'm going to do. If in fact you want to become a more effective person in your business by using the star of our show, then what will you do? You will simply become a member. In becoming a member, you'll choose one of two product packages. That product package may be the basic pack, which is a $49 initial and ongoing monthly subscription, or the pro pack is a $99 initial and ongoing monthly subscription. And so now, as we contemplate and consider some of the things that this can do for us, then just stop and ask yourself a question. Is there anything else? Is there even one more thing that you could do for $100 a month that would give you such tremendous competitive advantage and that would give you such tremendous opportunities to break into segments of the market that you've been unable to break into for whatever reason right now? And so upon establishing your account, then you'll immediately have a feature like this called a back office. And in this feature, the first thing that you will do is simply click on this link where you will train your AI. You will train your AI. Recognize that we can only extract from this tool the information that we give it about us. And so the very first thing that I'd have you do is write about you. Write about you. See, what we're seeking to do is have the tool present us in our highest and best light, and to do it in the shortest possible period of time. Now, obviously, if the tool doesn't know anything about you, then it cannot do as good a job and it would produce more generic information. And so, for all of you, when I first logged in to my AI tool site, what you're seeing now, I was in such a hurry to see the tools working that I put in one word answers. I kind of mailed in this training part. And then, not surprisingly, when I asked it to start doing tasks for me, it was doing tasks in a way that was, in my view, a little bit insufficient. Well, where did the fault lie? The fault lied with me because why? Because I had not given it the information it needed to have to properly represent me. And so the first thing that you will do is you will simply teach your AI what it is about you. Who are you? So that it can properly represent you. It will learn about you. It will then learn how to think like you. It will learn how to write like you. It will learn how to brand you. But you know what it'll do? It'll do it better than you can. Why? Because it will take the information that you feed it, but it will also then be learning from each other application. Every time you write a post, it will be learning. Every time you write an email, it will be learning. Every time you engage in social media, it will be learning, such that with every single interaction, each time it represents you more effectively. Today, I can tell you just a number of days in, 10 days in, getting close, I guess 2 weeks in to using this, I can tell you that Lev AI, my AI, represents me better than I've been able to represent me after 68 years of being me. And so the first thing we will do is we will train it. We will train it so that it knows and understands who we are. Now, one of the immediate issues when every small business, there are 388 million small businesses out there in the world right now, 388 million of them. And presumably, if you're contemplating using AI, you have a business. Most people are not starting at the very beginning saying, wow, I want to use AI in my personal life. I want to communicate with my grandchildren through AI. Well, we'll wind up doing that. But the first objective is I want to remain competitive in the marketplace, or I want to gain a new competitive advantage in the marketplace by being an early adopter of this technology, which is in fact destined to be a global mandate. And so once again, what do we do first? We teach it who we are. I've shown you how to do that. First thing we have to do is simply teach it who we are so it thinks like us, so that it acts like us. Now, as we move forward, what would you say is a primary initiative or a primary goal of every business owner? Isn't it true they want more people to use their product or service? I think that would be true of all. And so you can see I've just got my cursor going up the left-hand side over here. I get to this icon and it says My Prospects. I've had multiple people asking me as recently today. I saw a question, when will the prospect file become open? Well, it's been open from the very first moment. It's important that we know and understand how the tools work, that we have complete working knowledge. There are people wondering, when am I going to have access to this candidate field? And it's been available to you already for quite some time. All one does is go here. Now, recognize that in order to have access to this particular function, one must have acquired the Pro Pack. The candidate file is only available if one has acquired the Pro Pack. And so now I ask each of you to consider this thought. I believe that everyone needs our business. I think everyone needs our business because in order to remain competitive, there is a global mandate for AI. Everyone needs our business. If they are in business of any kind, they need our business. It's also true that there are some people that our business needs. So let's say, for example, that you live in Los Angeles, but what you'd really like to do is develop a business in Seattle for whatever reason, because you have family members in Seattle, because you have just for some reason you want to build a business in Seattle. And so in Seattle, Washington, the country is United States. And so we get to select people that our business needs. Now, I don't know why you needed someone in Seattle, but for whatever reason, you need somebody in Seattle. And now we get to identify and what kind of person does our business need? I remember a time, for example, when I offered a product that would lower serum cholesterol. And my great concern at that point in time was that first, I was young. I didn't have a personal concern about my cholesterol, and I had no medical background whatsoever. And I remember at that point in time, I also thought because I was too young, I considered that to be a disadvantage also, because people who had elevated cholesterol would not relate so well to me. I was their junior, I was not their peer. And so I thought, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if I could populate a business that had physicians in it who would then have that medical credibility? And I need to find people who are a year or two older than me so that they can be delivering a message that their peers will respond to. And so I can come up here and I can say that I want cholesterol reduction. That's one of so the interest and skills, cholesterol reduction, cholesterol management. There we go. So I'm interested in somebody that knows and understands cholesterol management. I don't particularly care. It doesn't matter to me whether the gender is male or female, but you can select whichever gender you want. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to say both. It does not make any difference to me. And now you'll see down here, it's asking me to add candidates to a contact list. And you can see here that I have 4 separate contact lists. Why? Because when I utilize social media or when I am using any kind of an outreach, my messaging will vary a little bit depending on who is the person to whom I make the outreach. For example, I know this, it's not something I think, but I know that when I post in Be the Best Dad, I almost know in advance, I know who it is that will be responding to that message. I can identify in advance. And what I will know is that most of the people, based on my life experience, who would be active in that kind of in that kind of an outreach, these would be relatively younger fathers. The older fathers, they don't tend to show up there. They'll be relatively younger fathers. And so that tells me in advance that those younger fathers probably have not yet secured their financial future. They probably have ultimate financial need. And if I can connect with them in a way that brings us together, I have a young child, they have a young child, that creates that commonality. I know in advance they probably have to make more money. And so now I simply say, so what do I want? I want a person in Seattle. It's going to go to the Be the Best Dad list. So I guess I'm going to refine this. I'm going to say it's going to be male. So these are going to be people in the United States. They're going to be in Seattle. They have an interest in cholesterol management and they want to be the best dad. And so with that, I went to the proactivity of entrepreneurship. And I think just this little screen right here, this is like a right seat pilot. I don't need to call my sponsor or my enroller every step of the way. I can find the answers to most questions right here. And I need not be stuck. And so I am stuck right now. I am stuck. Oops, I am stuck. My keyboard is going to. I am stuck. What strategies? Come on, right? So I got to get me a new keyboard here. Will help. And so now we simply ask, I'm stuck. I'm not going forward. What strategies will help? Now, this was an example. When I first began asking my helper here, she simply went to the internet and pulled information out. Now, as I've begun to load more and more and more content, increasing numbers of the responses that I get have responses that I can hear have been rooted in the fact that my YouTube videos have been loaded, this and this and this has happened. She's beginning to
Can you
make
share more
comments.
details about your current challenge? Whether it's lead generation, customer engagement, or another area, providing specifics will help tailor the advice.
Okay, I'm stuck. What strategies will help? Share more details. I am new. I'm new in my business and feel insecure. Now, see, we are also more likely to say that to this AI than we are to a person because I don't want to admit that I'm feeling insecure. But it's really easy for me to acknowledge that to an AI assistant. And so as I give her increasing bits of information, okay. Well, it's
It's
common to feel
common to feel
insecure.
insecure starting out. Focus first on building a strong network. Attend industry events or join local business groups. Building relationships can boost your confidence and provide valuable insights. Would you like tips on introductions or networking strategies?
And so the ping pong ball goes back and forth. I think this is of immeasurable value. I think of the countless new people who just became a real estate agent or a mortgage broker. They just got a job selling cars. They're new to an environment. They're new to the business, whatever it is. Having the guide right there beside me. Now, what she is continuing to pull out is, generally speaking, somewhat generic information, such as a chat GPT could pull. The more detailed information you load into it, the more she knows about you, the more specific the information can be to your circumstance. And in terms of solutions, the more content you load from trusted and respected leaders. If you're new and you're looking for answers, you don't have the answer. You can't teach her the answer. You can, however, load content from your trusted advisor. And that would be true both here and in your digital avatar as we go forward. And so, again, as I contemplate and I consider, what could I do that would help my business as much as this service can for $100 a month? No matter what business I'm in, what could I do? I believe that having an availability of contacts every day, I think that's worth $100 a month. I think if we didn't have anything else, that's worth $100 a month. I think that we recognize that each new person who joins any business, they will find themselves in a new environment. In that new environment, anything that is new has doubt, fear, and insecurity associated with it. What is the value of having our AI chat feature where at any moment in time we're feeling a little bit stuck, we can simply pose the question. Now, today, I will not be able to demonstrate to you my digital avatar. That will come in about 2 weeks or so. That will be loaded with such dense content that it actually becomes conversational. And so that would be a step up and beyond what can be accomplished here. But I will say that if the only offering made for that $99 a month was to do provide for you new contacts and to help grow contact base, not just by providing from the database, but helping you grow the contact base. If it was only that, that would be worth more than $100 per month. If it was only the chat feature teaching us what is the next correct step, every step, what do I do now? I'm new at this. I don't know where to go. I want to break through finally. I don't want to be in the fifth quintile of producers. I want to be in the first quintile of producers. What's going to make it change? I think it's worth more than $99 per month to have this chat feature. I absolutely believe that. And the more we remember, the more that we train our AI, the more we train it, then the more it will be able to effectively respond to questions. And once again, it is not requisite that it have your knowledge. We can load it with knowledge of your preferred thought leaders. Down here is where we create our business profiles. And so here you can see I have one that is just being a dad. I've described to you why I use that one. That gives me access to a certain category of individual, usually younger fathers. They share a lot with me right now. I'm not younger, but I have a young child. Um, and I know what their needs and wants are, and I know that we can help with Lev AI. I will get a different kind of responses and different people responding to me when I post in the personality, not in the personality, that's the wrong way, but when I post in the persona of or the profile of just being a dad. Why do I use leadership personified? Well, if people know me, they probably know of me as a result of my success in the network marketing industry. If you happen to be involved in another network marketing company, you probably would not like to have your membership reviewing my content as it relates to network marketing. They might get swept away in a direction you don't want them to get swept away. But in my leadership personified profile, I deliver information that would be beneficial to anyone who is seeking to develop leadership attributes, and this would not be threatening to someone else. And so that gets me a different audience. And then, of course, my very specific Lev AI audience. And so with each one of these profiles, I'm able to it's not that I don't have different personalities. I just have one personality. I'm authentically me, but different expressions of what's important, granting me different accesses to different audiences and being able to be more effective in that audience. Is that worth something? Is it maybe worth $100 a month? If you're trying to grow and expand a business, being able to interact with people in different ways. I mean, I think that that's worth $100 per month. Really and truly, no kidding, I do. And now, what if a person sends to me a message and I just don't know how to respond? Well, here are the things that I can do. I can do a screenshot of the conversation with that prospect or candidate. I can upload the conversation into the chat below, and my AI will then craft the response. Again, folks, I've spent 35 years of my life learning how to effectively communicate. I know the answers to the vast majority of questions that might get proposed to me about this business or this kind of business. But what about my newcomer? The whole issue is to cause a new person who is just starting to be able to grow more quickly, to gain financial viability so they survive in their career and move on from the fifth quintile to the fourth to the third to the second quintile to the top quintile of performers. And so now, as opposed to me having to dream up a response to a message now based upon the screenshot conversation with the candidate, based upon what we have taught Lev AI about us and about our business, when we trained our AI, based upon what the various applications in our solution have learned one from another in every interaction, it now crafts the response. Folks, that's worth more than $100 a month. If our company offered nothing except that, if that was the only service we offered, it's worth more than $100 per month. And on we go. As you can see, I consider this to be almost absurd in its value. And I want you to know that there was serious consideration to having this entry point offering be $195 and the professional pack be $395. Serious consideration was given. The decision was made to price it for the masses. Why? Because the overall vision of Lev AI is to deliver accessible AI to all of planet Earth and therefore price points so that we can get not just to the techies, but to everybody. Our vision is millions and millions and millions of people utilizing the product. Why? Because every single component is worth more than $100, and yet all components wrapped together in one are $100. And as we go on up, once again, here's where we create our product profiles. Now we can write a message, and the message that we can write, we get to identify what is the objective we would like. Well, we're going to overcome an objection, and we're going to select a business or a product, and I'm going to select Lev AI. Now, boom. Oh, it's asking me to reply. So now the function to write the message back over here, help me reply. I see I didn't do a screenshot, and so I can't do that right because it's asking me to reply to that message right now, and I didn't do that screenshot. So we'll come on up here. Now, what if I want to write a social post? Remember that throughout everything in Lev AI, there's a first purpose, a second purpose, a third level purpose. Inclusive in all is the ability to grow one's influence. And the most predictable way, the logical way to grow one's influence is to grow one's social media presence. And so now you see, we go to my AI social, and I can choose to make a personal post or I can make a business post. So in this case, I'm going to make a business post. If I want to make a business post, then I must select which one of these am I going to make that post about. Well, I probably wouldn't make a business post about just being an ad. That would be more likely to be a personal post, even though there is behind the message, behind the messaging, that this will convert to a business discussion possibly at some point. But I'm going to start out right here. I'm just going to go over here, leadership personified. I don't want to give it any thought. I just want to get something out there into the world because who knows what I might be moving on past and catch a post that is on one of my social media profiles. And so when I ask it to write an instant post, I didn't give it any guidance. I didn't give it any information except we're going to write it about leadership personified. I didn't tell it anything else. It's just super fast. And so there it is, it's ready. Ever wonder how personal growth fuels leadership success? At Leadership Personified, we believe that tailored strategies can transform your potential into performance. What's one character trait that you value most in a leader? Let's explore how embracing personal growth can elevate your leadership game. Share your thoughts. And then, how does it begin to grow? It grows my social media presence. How? Because then it does the hashtags, folks. I didn't know what the hashtag. I know a lot of you folks already knew that, but I didn't. Now, next, really, really key. I'm not going to do the compliance check right now. And the reason that I'm not is because this was an instant post. Levy, I did it itself. I know that it's going to come back and be just fine. What if you didn't happen to like what? Well, that wasn't really what I was hoping it would say, even though it was an instant post. That doesn't really touch me personally. And so I'm just going to ask it and it'll recreate. It will give you another example. Boom. If there's one thing I've learned from my adventures in the snow and on the green, and what's this doing? It is picking from what I've taught it. I enjoy skiing and I enjoy playing golf. It's that leadership, like any sport, requires practice, patience, and passion. At Leadership Personified, we're here to hone your skills and drive you towards your next big win. Ready to tee off with us? Now, really ask yourself a question. Is that not better than saying nothing? And is that not better than what most of our newcomers would be able to write? And the answer is yes. That will get more likes, comments. Remember, it is a process, it is not an event. We can change the image to make it personal if we want. And we can also do this. What if I want to make it just a little bit longer? Well, I can just say make it a little bit longer and it'll regenerate it. Now, in the case of an instant post, I wouldn't do that. It's just an instant post, bang. I'm just trying to get my face out there in case somebody happens to be driving by my social media profile at that moment. Okay, so here's longer, and then I can go longer still. The next thing is we come down here and click on a little AI logo or icon. What if I would like this to be in a different language? Well, no problem. Then I just pop right down here. And what if I want it to be in Bosnian? There we go. If I want it to be in Bosnian, then I just say to regenerate. And now suddenly I can send this to my friends in Bosnia. If I have friends in Bosnia, I can post on social media groups that are in Bosnia. Um, it's taken me a couple of minutes here, folks. You're seeing it. I could begin advancing my cause on a global scale every day by doing a couple of instant posts. I could pick more than one of my profiles so that I've got a few different things floating out there in cyberspace. I think it's magic. I think it's absolutely magic. Now, let's come down here and take another look. When we look at more post types, a long post plus a suggested image, this is where we actually deliver content. Now, I want you all to imagine for a moment that you have a brand new member, literally a brand new member, and they're trying to, um, as a brand new member, they're trying to provoke interest in something to which they are new. What do you want the post to be about? The opportunity created by the global adoption of AI. And now I'm going to illustrate something so we can show the value of the compliance check. We can all make millions. Okay, now it's going to generate a post. And when it generates the post, remember I said I wanted it to be a long post. And so ask yourself this question. Could your typical new member who is brand new write anything intelligent about AI if this is their first introduction to it? No, they could not. This can, and this will write information about AI that is also reflective of the things you've taught it about yourself. Now, this is long because I asked it to be long. I tend to deliver content as opposed to just fluff. And we won't read all the way through this, but now imagine, could your typical new member, could you, as a brand new participant, could you write this? Or is this perhaps a little bit better that you could do it? In an era where technological advancements are shaping the very fabric of our existence, the global adoption of AI stands out as a beacon of unprecedented opportunity. For many, AI may seem like a fleeting novelty or distant fantasy. Now, folks, if you read through several of these, it's good. Well, I will tell you that it's good. Today, LEV AI will write things on my behalf that are better than I could write them on my behalf. That is the truth. The first day, I didn't feel that way. I would, however, have felt that way were I not a communicator. And when I didn't feel that way, I was saying, wait, this does not sound exactly like me. And then I had to tame my ego and recognize that what does sound exactly like me hasn't produced the outcome I want. I have a stated objective, folks. I want 1 million social media contacts 18 months from now. Today, I have about 150,000. So, what I've done over the course of my whole career in 35 years is create 150,000. Well, that's not what I want. I want something dramatically better than that. And so I am going to rely upon LEV AI to do that for me. Now, at this point, I can do a compliance check. And this time, it's the longer post. I referenced financial opportunity. And so it's entirely possible that it's going to come back and find some red flags. And we'll see how aggressively it wrote what I said, we can all make millions, right? It didn't say that. It knew in advance that that was not going to be acceptable. But let's see how close we come. Now, one of the things that I learned early on, I had this impression, a very, very faulty impression, that this would stymie leadership growth because people would become dependent upon technology. I very much dislike the word dependent, and I dislike even more the reality of being dependent. As many of you know, I was suffered with drug and alcohol addiction for a long time. I don't ever want to be dependent upon anything. However, a wise person will always be reliant upon sources that know more than us. And so here you can see this post is high risk. So you see, this is teaching me. Not only is this not stymieing my growth, this is accelerating my growth because now it's teaching me. Wait a minute, Randy, that post is high risk. Somebody's probably going to report you to the FTC. Some regulator is going to say, well, this guy's making income claims he shouldn't be making. So it says this post is high risk, and then it teaches us why. This post mentions the potential to make millions through AI, which is a high risk income claim. FTC guidelines prohibit making unsubstantiated income representations unless they are truthful and substantiated with evidence. Opportunity misrepresentation. Statements like gateway to making millions and pathway to making millions through AI isn't reserved for the chosen few. Imply guaranteed substantial income, which can be misleading without clear evidence. And so now I can update the post as subjected, as requested, and now it will redeliver as aggressive a message as it can, but stay inside the rules. Now, you tell me, folks, is that worth $100 a month? Being able to teach an entire body of a membership what to say and what not to say, what will provoke the correct behavior without taking the risks. For me, is that not worth $100 a month? It's worth more than $100 a month, folks. We can go piece by piece by piece all the way through. And by the way, once I write my social post, now I copy and paste, I post that in my social media. And as soon as somebody makes a like or a comment, I need only highlight it and come back into my AI, and it will tell me what is the correct way to respond to it as it gradually teaches me. So I view it this way. The tool suite at LEV AI can be viewed as a crutch. Now, there are some crutches that are very, very beneficial for people who have permanent disabilities. If I have a permanent injury to my leg, I will always need to use a crutch or some kind of a mobility device. And so I have a permanent disability in terms of my ability to speak Chinese. I'm never going to speak Chinese, am I? That's never going to happen. So I have a permanent disability in terms of my ability to speak Chinese. So I will always use my Lev AI solution to deliver Chinese content for me. On the other hand, I have a temporary disability to know what is an acceptable social media post and what is not. And every time I use the system, it teaches me what is right and what is wrong. And so now we have regenerated that same post, and we did it in such a way that it is not going to create the, the potential compliance problem. And so you see, not only does this is this tool not stymieing growth, but this tool is provoking growth. And once again, what if I want to change the tone? I want to make it a little more, I want to make it humorous. Well, this is a kind of a funny sort of a message to be making humorous, but when I glance at it, if it's not the tone that I want, it does let me modify. What it will not let me do is turn it back into the non-AI version of Randy and do it my way. And so here we go in the modern circus of technological marvels. There's a dazzling spectacle. So you see, you're not forced to lose your personality. And as it comes to know your personality more and more, when it sees that I frequently ask for a humorous post, then it will gravitate, it will guide my future posts in that direction. When it sees that I'm always asking for the more professional, it will guide the post there. Every time you do anything inside the system, app A is communicating with app B. They're all one application, excuse me, but one function, one part, one ingredient is communicating with each other part of the ingredient such that as the tool gets to know you more, it makes you increasingly effective. Okay, we are 40 minutes into this, folks. Now, today, I chose to deliver this message not the exact same way, not to go through a slide presentation and show you each of the elements required for success. Today, I chose to focus on the element that is our standout element. Our standout element is, in fact, the product offering. contrary to what I've done my whole career. Business, 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 supported by the product. We engage in a proved, predictable pattern of activities that results in the creation of an ever-expanding and potentially limitless web of consumers of whatever the product is. That's how I've always taught it. I've taught that with the proper construct, you can deliver anything you want through it. That is true. But this is not just anything. This is more, this is more profound than fire or electricity or anything we've done in the past. This is going to be 10 times bigger than the Industrial Revolution, maybe 10 times faster. Why? Because we're granting to people the opportunity to become profitable in advance of knowledge gathering and skill development. And we're engaging them in a process which will accelerate the actual gathering of knowledge and development of skills. Every single thing about this is good. Every part of the mix, every part of the equation is worth more than the total price for the package. That's the way that I see it. It's the way that I view it. If I could somehow snap my fingers and cause you all to understand that, then you will become the single best user of the tool. When you are the best user of the tool, the entire suite, that is when you can demonstrate to those who would use it in their business how it will grow up. And that is how you'll best be able to demonstrate to those who would use it as a business how to generate royalties by helping others use it in their business. This is a little different than what we've done before. It's a little different, and it's a lot better, like a lot better. We're delivering a product and service that people cannot acquire elsewhere. And if they could acquire it elsewhere, it would cost them much more. And we're providing a product or service that will make them more effective in all parts of their life, freeing up time now being spent to only be properly invested. And that is a worthwhile and a worthy endeavor. Folks, tonight we have the wonderful experience of hearing from Ms. Tammy Wachter, who is going to do a business presentation. It will be exceptional. I promise you that. It's not something I think, it's something I know. And tonight, Blake, the president of our company, will give the next corporate update. And folks, everything is really good. I mean, everything is really, really good. I could not be more pleased with the daily advancements the company is making in literally every area. So God bless you all. Have the best day yet. I look forward to seeing you this evening. Make today a special one. Bye-bye.